Hey everyone, and welcome back to STEM Simplified. This is episode 2 of our JavaScript Basics series, and today we're talking about variables. Variables are one of the most important tools in coding. They help your program remember things, like a score, a username, or even whether something is true or false. We'll break it down step by step, so let's get into it. So what are variables? Think of a variable like a labeled box. You give the box a name, like score, and you put something inside, like the number 10. Anytime you want to check or change what's inside, you just use that name. Variables help your code keep track of stuff so it can use that information later. In JavaScript, there are two main ways to create variables, let and constant. Use let when the value might change later, like tracking someone's points in a game. Use constant when the value will stay the same forever, like your birthday, your name, or the value of pi. Once you use constant, you can't change it, but with let, you can update it anytime. Updating variables. If you create a variable with let, you can change it later by giving it a new value. It's like taking something out of the box and putting something new inside, like the example on the right. We can see the box takes out the value 10, puts 20 in, and reseals the box. This is an example of updating a variable. This is super useful for things that update a lot, like a counter or the current level of a game. But if you use constant, you can't do that, and it stays frozen. Your variable needs to follow some basic rules for naming. They should start with a letter or an underscore and never a number. You cannot use spaces, no symbols like @ or %, and you should use names that make sense. Also, use camel case. Camel case, there's an example on the right under good name. You see how the A in user age is capitalized because there are no spaces. For example, call it user score, not just X or thing. Clear and specific names make your code easier to read and fix. Now, let's see how all of this works in code. First, we'll create a variable using let. We'll name it score and set it to 0. So let score, which is the name of our variable, equal to 0. Now, we're going to print it out using console.log like we learned in the past episode. As you can see, it prints out in the console on the bottom. Now, let's say the score changes. Maybe the player earns 5 points. We can update the value like this. Notice that this time we didn't use let again, because we only use let the first time when we create the variable. After that, we just update the value. Now, let's shift to looking at constant. We'll create a constant value called name and set it to some text. Constant, our variable name, which is name, and we'll set it equal to Alex. Now we're going to print it out using console.log, and we can see that it prints out Alex in the bottom. Now let's try to change the value of name. We'll go name equals, and we'll try to change it to Sarah. We can see that it pops up an error in the console. It says cannot assign to name because it's a constant. We get an error because constant values cannot be changed. So to sum it up, use let when the value needs to change and use constant when the value should stay the same. Simple, right? You'll use this all the time when you're building projects. So now that we've seen how it works, let's go back. Let's review what we learned. Variables store values using a name. Use let when the value can change and constant when it should stay the same. Always follow the naming rules and pick names that explain what the variable is following. Congratulations! You've just learned one of the most important parts of JavaScript. Thank you so much for watching episode 2 of JavaScript Basics. If this video helped you, hit like and subscribe to STEM Simplified. In episode 3, we'll get into logic, which is how your code can make decisions using conditions. See you next time!